I'm Gene Grant. Welcome back to the Line Opinion Panel. Our final topic this week is that new law that prevents local police departments from seizing property from suspected criminals. Let's focus on that word suspected. Civil asset forfeiture is an issue across the country, as you may have seen in national publications. Now, before the new law, police could seize property from someone before they were convicted of a crime. And now some police chiefs are saying the new law will hurt their budgets because seized items are sold in local auctions. And let me start with Dee Dee on this one. This is interesting to me. The Farmington police chief in particular was in the news. Something seems odd to me here, that why would a chief of police come out and say, well, we're hurting because we can't seize property anymore because of this law? That's not our problem as a public. That's an argument for the legislature or their local government body. Why are they saying this?
I think this is
all?
The sky is falling cry from the police chief up there. The law has been in effect, let me remind you, 9 days.
Oh, that's a good point.
9 days. It went into effect July 1st.
Right.
And so they're worried about the future and their ability to profit.
Right.
If they have built their department's budget on profit that they get from seizing property from people who have not even been convicted or charged with a crime, they are foolish.
That's right.
And they need to take the consequences, and they need to come next year to the legislature, if indeed that's true, and ask for supplemental funds. Not one person apparently came to the legislature from any police department during the course of this debate, which lasted the entire session, and came forward with that concern, because I think they would have been embarrassed to admit that their department's budget was based on this.
Yeah. Tom, let's just kind of circle back a little bit on this whole issue. There was a set of what they call perverse incentives here, what Dee Dee was just talking about. You've got people pulled over, you've got people, police going into homes or whatever on suspects just taking their stuff because it almost became irresistible for them. It seems like there's a mindset here these folks haven't quite turned a corner on.
Well, I mean, and it's not all officers, not all law enforcement, but yeah, there are definitely some high-profile cases that I think have caught attention that are huge civil rights issues and violations of civil rights. This issue. Everybody saw this coming because even the FIR, the Fiscal Impact Report submitted as part of the legislative process, said from DPS, Department of Public Safety, that there are going to be substantial losses in income. And so why now, after the fact, and 9 days in? It's just too many red flags. But I think that there is an opportunity here to really address the issue of how is police, how are these police departments funded? How are sheriff's offices funded? And what rights, if any, do they have to violate civil rights? I say none. And I think everybody around the table in New Mexico would agree, but clearly there's that line that was the gray area. And now that gray area has become a solid black line, and people are finding they're on the other side of that line.
That's right. We had a chief up there saying he's going to try not to seize property. That line killed me.
Well, the very first class, the very first constitutional law class, one of the very first things you learn is about the due process. Property cannot be taken without due process of law. And so I'm just astonished that anybody would think that creating a profit motivation for a police department is due process, an appropriate process. So I think there was going to be litigation eventually anyway because of all of these civil rights violations.
That's right. I wonder if something's being teed up. I ask again, Senator Feldman, when people come out publicly and do these kind of things, I'm not saying this is an organized body doing, some grassroots organizing here as police chiefs, but they must know there's going to be a reaction to this. They must. I mean, so what reaction could they possibly be looking for here? This is a rollback in the next session or something of that nature?
Well, maybe that's it, a repeal of it or certain exemptions for it. I think they're foolish if they think that people are going to rally to their cause. This was a bipartisan measure signed by the governor.
Practically unanimous.
It was unanimous.
That's right.
I think it was unanimous certainly in the House. I don't know about the Senate, but that's pretty rare. And the legislature spoke, and the governor spoke and said, these civil rights have been violated and it's wrong, and we're going to stop this program. It was quite an extraordinary thing.
Yeah.
It seems to me that I can hear, I'm a big supporter of what was passed.
Sure.
I can hear a little bit of the argument from the chief saying that, well, there is some property that we do have to seize because the feds require us to do that. And we have to pay for the storage. Well, okay, my general thinking is tough luck, but okay, if that's the case, and I think Dee Dee alluded to this, then you can write down, you can document, this is how much it cost our department to hold this drug paraphernalia or whatever, or car that was seized under federal regulations. And since the money is going to go to the general fund, then the state can then disperse that money out, and that seems to be the solution to me.
Sure.
And that way, if the police departments are really under this much pressure, under this much financial pressure, then document it.
Good point. You know, Tom, what strikes me about this is one of those really rare deals where you've got folks like the ACLU and very conservative Republicans in absolute agreement on this. And civil forfeiture. You know what I mean? It's like one of those rare things. And as these guys pointed out, it was almost a unanimous vote. And I bring that up to say, again, the tone deafness of being on profoundly the wrong side of an issue seems to be something here. And you work with PR of sorts. Not with law enforcement, but are they beholden to PR issues as well?
They are. Well, yeah, and I have actually had the opportunity to speak with the chiefs of police in New Mexico and stuff, and a very good group of people and stuff. Yeah. Here's what I find to be fascinating with the media coverage and all of this that has stirred this up, is that it's one police chief. I don't remember seeing anybody else.
Point.
And so all of a sudden, you have this one, he goes out and he's standing out there alone in his field and nobody else is coming to his assistance. I haven't seen any other police chief saying, dude, come on back on the line, join us, it's safe in here, let's wait till the next legislative session. It's not happening. And so, he's definitely, speaking his mind, which, is a protected right.
That's right.
I'm not sure it's the best use of his time.
That's right. I worry about, we need to move on from this, but I worry about how these folks are clearly have a deficit. They're not making it up, certainly. I mean, a traffic violation's going to go up, or do you know what I mean? There's lots of ways to make money out there if you're law enforcement.
More speed traps.
More speed traps, right? You see what I mean? That's all the time we have for this week, guys. Join us online to hear what these guys have to say about vandalism of a Starbucks under construction here in Albuquerque. Are more national chains welcome in our metro area, or would residents prefer to see more local businesses? I'm Gene Grant. As always, we appreciate your time and effort to stay informed and engaged, and we'll see you next week in Focus. Get a preview of what's coming up on the next New Mexico in Focus. It's easy. Sign up for our weekly email at newmexicoinfocus.org.